Solar Flash Update 2024. Extraterrestrial Council of Nine reveals to me secret about 3D Earth. Gaia is dreaming. Get my books on Amazon Kindle or Audible, or you can get them at michaelwilliamdenny.com. Hello, fellow human light beings. This is Mahadeva the Thunder Wizard, and you have reached the Thunder Wizard YouTube channel. And I have more information coming from the light beings about the end of the current 3D Earth matrix that we are experiencing. And the information that I received was quite unexpected, to be honest. I'm struggling to absorb it and understand it because it goes against a lot of what I had assumed. But that's the normal reality about the third dimension. This is a dream. It is our dream. Turns out it's also Mother Gaia's dream as well. But this is our dream. It has as much reality as any of your dreams do. It has as much, it makes as much sense as a dream does. It has as much rationality and fluidity and logic as your dreams do. But when you're in your dreams, you're not aware of how irrational and strange they are. Sorry, I've got an eyelash or something in my eyeball here. So we don't really analyze our reality. I mean, not going to get into it in this video, but if you look at all of the evidence without any bias and without any need to have reality make sense, if you just look at the objective available evidence, this is a simulation. It is a matrix. It is an illusion. It is a projection. That's the great thing about, real science is looking at the evidence without any bias. That's true science. And that's why you have theoretical physicists who say the same thing that mystics have been saying forever, which is we live in an illusion, and that our physical reality is nothing more than a projection of our expectations. But if we were to become aware of that, that would mean that everything in the dream would come crashing down, and that is frightening if we identify with the dream, if we are attached to it. And that is the issue. So this reality is a dream. And the 3D matrix is the unconscious dream of Mother Gaia. So again, this information is coming to me yesterday. I wanted some more deeper explanation of what this whole solar flash thing is. The idea of the Earth splitting into 3 octaves. I intellectually get it, but it's hard to get my mind around when I start thinking about reality, especially when I've been repeatedly told by light beings that I will be taken out of this Earth. And it's one thing to sit here and talk about we live in a dream and life is but a dream, and that's all great, but it's really just symbolic spiritual platitudes. You don't do anything with it. Once you go to church or temple or story time and you hear the story and you go, wow, or then you go back to your real life and you treat this reality as real, and that it's going to be real as long as you're physically alive. And that's the only way out. And we don't really think about death, really, because it's too shocking and painful and confusing. But if I take what I believe I'm being told about myself, and I think most likely for many, many others, that I will be physically taken out of this reality to a different reality. If I start to allow myself to believe that, this whole thing gets really crazy, and it's not an easy thing to accept. So that's why I went back in meditation yesterday. I went back and I specifically asked for the council. I think I did. Anyway, however I ended up in front of them, I ended up in front of them again. And I asked them to please explain more. What does this mean? How is Earth in 3 different places? How is it that I'm going to be taken out of this reality? What is behind all this? Explain it to me, please. And I specifically asked with the knowledge that I might not like the answer. So let me explain that a little bit. Here's the difference from my perspective. Listen, here's the thing about deluded people. Deluded people don't think they're deluded. They don't question their delusion, because their delusion is an ego defense. They're running away from some fear or insecurity or pain, something, and so they're creating a fantasy to run away from the truth. That's why people who are deluded are absolutely adamant, and they don't want anybody to tell them different. They'll say things like, why don't you support me? Well, because what you're saying is irrational and illogical. Well, then you're being mean to me. You don't like me. No, I actually care greatly about you. I want you to be happy. And what you're doing is you're making yourself more miserable. So deluded people tend not to question, because they need their fantasy, their non-reality, to protect them from the truth that they're trying to run away from. So when I was, again, this whole thing sounds so crazy listening to it, but, take it for what it is. As I was before this Council of 9, and I specifically said, please tell me more. I was consciously, and I might even, verbally said to them, it's okay if it frightens me, tell me the truth. Because what I have found consistently across the board, here's how I know somebody is communicating with higher dimensional beings. So pay attention if you're not sure. Based on my experience, higher dimensional beings communicate in very consistent ways. The first one is they always speak to you in a loving, empowering manner. So they never criticize you, ever. They definitely never judge you. It's a real stretch for them to go out of their way to point out something that's not serving you, which we might take as criticism. It's very rare that they do that. They do sometimes do that, if you can handle it. But across the board, what they do is they treat you with love, overwhelming love, and they accept you, and they never judge, they never criticize, they're never harsh, ever. So that's the first thing. So if you're interacting with a being that you think is a higher dimensional being, and it's judging you, criticizing you, shaming you in any way, then we can debate on what that is. It could be your own, more than likely it's your own unconscious. It might be another being. Very, a 2% chance it might be a lower dimensional being. So that's the first thing. Higher dimensional beings are never, ever anything other than loving and supportive and accepting. But you would think, with what I just said, that every time they communicate with you, that you always feel better afterwards. And my experience is that simply having higher dimensional energy come into contact with third dimensional energy, it destroys the three-dimensional matrix. It destroys that. And so what ends up happening is that even though you're being told amazingly wonderful, beautiful, loving things, your experience is going to be fear and anxiety. And you may not understand why. In fact, just even still to this day, when higher dimensional energy, and I'm getting messages, or I'm getting, what I call I'm getting texted, the energy hits me and I know that they're higher dimensional beings. It's very loving, it's, very powerful and intense. But my first physical response is to feel anxiety. And if I don't pay attention to it, my brain starts looking for things, in the 3D world to be anxious about. So I've gotten pretty good to relax and go, I'm not anxious. My three-dimensional body is having a little bit of a trauma because higher dimensional energy is coming to me. So that's the thing that is universal about this. So this is why I can tell when somebody is communicating with higher dimensional beings. Because if they say, the being said this to me, and if it's not loving, if it's not kind, if it's not supportive, if it's not healing, then I know they're not talking to higher dimensional beings. Also, if they haven't experienced what it feels like to have that electromagnetic feeling of pressure on the body, which there isn't, but that's the body's first response to higher dimensional electromagnetic energy, is that the body will feel like there's a pressure on the chest somewhere. So when somebody is talking about it and that isn't part of it, I know they're not having higher dimensional interactions. So when I say that I'm talking to these higher dimensional beings and I am consciously saying to them, I want to know the truth, I want you to explain this to me even if I don't like it, it means that I'm preparing to have an experience of having my ego and my third dimensional feeling of safety messed with, destroyed. The reason why I say that is that their instinct is to not give you that feeling. They're not interested in traumatizing you or frightening you. Again, unlike aliens, the ones that abduct, that do frighten you and are interested in frightening you, extraterrestrials have no interest in that. But they understand that that is the natural byproduct of just their energy next to yours, is that your third dimensional self has a hard time with it. So they're very conservative unless you ask them, I'm okay, tell me more of this truth. I understand it's going to be difficult to hear. So I did that. I said, I want to know some truth. Now, here's the other strange thing about it. When they tell you the truth about your true identity, when they start to talk about who you are in higher dimensions, it is absolutely, it's unbelievable how complementary they are. They start to tell you how powerful you are and the things that you are able to do in higher dimensions and what your true identity is and your true history before you incarnated and where you're going to go when you leave. And they start building you up into this, much, much, much larger than life, literally larger than the third dimension. And again, on paper, you would think that that would boost your ego, and it has the opposite effect. It makes you feel very insecure and uncomfortable, and it makes you feel like you're losing your mind. Because it's impossible in the third dimension. What they're saying you are in higher dimensions is impossible in the third dimension. Unless, of course, you are truly completely enlightened, in which case you can be that and not have the third dimension, minimize you. That's a whole other subject. So I asked for that, and they started telling me all these things I'm going to be sharing with you today. What's going on with Mother Earth and who she truly is and who we are and our connection with her. And so I'm going to just give you a preview of what I'm going to be talking about. But the bottom line is that Mother Earth is dreaming. She has 3 selves, just like you have 3 selves. If you're new to the channel, I welcome you to look on the playlists, to read my books, to go into some older videos. Here in the 90-day challenge, go into the past videos where I talk about the 3 selves. I talk about the 3 ones. This is very important. We have 3 selves. We have the lower self. I'm touching my navel center. It's located in the navel. We have the middle self, which is where the soul resides. And then we have the higher self, which is the third eye and the crown. That's our higher self. We are not one conscious being. We are 3 conscious beings. That's why we're in the 3rd dimension. That's why, the Trinity is found in every religion. There's some form of the Trinity, whether it's Father, Son, Holy Spirit, whether it's mind, body, spirit, whether it's heaven, earth, and man, whether it's Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu. There's Odin, Vili, and Ve. Throughout it's the reason why it's in religions is because we realize this on a deep level. So what I had not come to expect, because nobody ever taught me this, that the earth has 3 selves also. She has a higher self, a middle self, and a lower self. So that means she has an unconscious mind, she has a conscious mind, and she has a superconscious mind, just like we do. Now that wouldn't have made sense to me before because we tend to look at deities in the 3rd dimension differently. And so if you see the earth as a deity, then you tend to glorify them and separate them, make them different from you. But this is one thing that I've learned in higher dimensions. Consciousness is consciousness. And any conscious being is identical to others. The only difference between you and the highest deity, whatever deity you would worship as the highest deity, Krishna, especially the way, Krishna followers follow Krishna. What will sound blasphemous to them is if I said, Krishna is no different than you. Krishna is just a conscious being. The only difference is that Krishna is in a much higher dimension. It's the only difference. If you were to go to that same dimension as Krishna, you'd be equal, be exactly the same. If Krishna were to, Krishna supposedly is an avatar of Vishnu, but if Krishna were to truly incarnate as opposed to being an avatar, let me give you, as I'm talking about this, I'm realizing there's a difference between an avatar and an incarnation. When you incarnate, you completely give over your consciousness to the illusion of the dream that you are entering, which means you are bound by the rules, the limitations of that dimension, of that dream, which means you forget who you are. So if Krishna existed physically, which we could debate, but if Krishna existed physically in a human body, but was completely conscious of his higher dimensional self throughout his life, then he's an avatar. He's not an incarnated being. Got me? This is important because of the things that the ETs were telling me about why I came here. And I'm not going to get into that because, again, you're going to have your own experience with the higher dimensional beings, and they're going to tell you who you are, and you're going to flip out and go, that's not possible. But if I started telling you in detail all of the things that they said about me, it would just distract from the message. And in the 3rd dimension, it would just sound like I was, an egotistical, narcissistic cult leader. And so I don't want to distract from the message, and so I'm going to leave my personal details, who they say I am and what my role is in the next world. I'm going to leave that for the future, unless I've come to the conclusion that I think it's helpful for other people if I tell you who I believe I am. All right, so Krishna was an avatar, meaning that he didn't forget who he was. He was fully aware and he was fully connected, which is why he'd be able to do all of these supernatural things and why he had the power that he did. So, but Krishna and you are exactly the same. If you were to meet Krishna in whatever dimension, probably, you know, 9th, 10th dimension, if you were to go up that high, Krishna would be, you guys would be on the same level. You would have no need to worship him any more than he needed to worship you. So I'm saying that because Mother Earth, I'm realizing, is a conscious being, meaning she's no different than me or you. If she's incarnated in the form of the earth, that means she has karma. That means that she has attachments. That means that she has illusions. Because the only way to come into to become an avatar within a limited system, the only way that that happens is if you have attachments, delusions, karma. It's the only way. One of the reasons that I'm putting all this together is that somebody that I knew in this third dimensional life who has since passed away, I was interacting with this person, somebody very close to me in my life, probably not who you're thinking of, somebody else, but somebody who was close to me in my life, and then I found out that this person had decided to become a sun, like a star. So you think about that, that messes with your understanding of what the spirit world is. When somebody that you knew as a physical human being with 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyeballs, nose and a mouth and all of that, and normal human stuff, you find out that person has now become a star in the sky. That changes everything. That means there's no limitations to who you are and what you can be. And so it tells me that consciousness is the same in every conscious being everywhere in the multiverse. How it's expressed, how it's manifested, that's apparently completely up for grabs. So I'm going to tell you about how you came here to be inside of Gaia's dream, how your dream, which is your incarnation, how your dream interfaces with Gaia's dream and with everybody else's dream, and how all of this has to do with the fact that 3-dimensional Earth is coming to an end, and that there's going to be 3 different Earths that we will be living on. You may be following where I'm going. If you've followed my channel for a while, you might be putting 2 and 2 together here. Before I do that, if you're new to the channel, I need you to subscribe, like, and comment, because if you don't, then the YouTube algorithm won't pick it up, which means people won't hear the message. I need to reach as many people as I possibly can, so I need your help in doing that. So subscribe, like, and comment so the algorithm will pick it up. I need you to go to the free playlist page. Don't know what that means? Go onto YouTube, type Thunder Wizard, my page will come up, and then you can go to the playlists. On the playlist, I want you to click on 3 playlists, which are the Maoshan Qigong, the Interdimensional Meditation, and 12 Steps to 5D. Do at least one thing from at least one of those playlists every day. And the point of that is, if you want to shift, you got to shift your frequency, and in order to do that, that makes a conscious decision, and your actions have to coincide with your conscious decision. If you're just watching YouTube channels thinking that you're going to shift up, it's not impossible, but it's a lot less likely This is a guaranteed path of doing that. The practices that I teach are, thousands and thousands of years of human spiritual downloads and ingenuity and practice, and I've synthesized the most powerful ones, focused specifically on shifting your frequency up. So that's what the playlists are. Do at least one thing from at least one of those playlists every day. While you're doing that, subscribe to the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong at thunderwizard.com. If you're serious about this, do the practices. And, this is you not, going to those playlists and not knowing which ones to do. This is me telling you from A to Z, and me doing videos and you pressing play and just simply following the videos of me doing, very, very simple physical movements, meditations, and energy work. And if you do that, I guarantee you will shift. And I can also now guarantee you that these exercises come directly from these higher dimensional beings who are now surrounding Earth trying to wake everybody up. So you want to get on the bus now? Go do the Thunder Wizard, thunderwizard.com Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong. All right, back to where we are. Extraterrestrial Council of Nine reveals to me the secrets about 3D Earth. 3D Matrix is the unconscious dream of Gaia. So let's get into it. Goddess Gaia is dreaming to heal her unresolved issues. That was a shock to me. I don't say this. It feels blasphemous to talk about Mother Earth this way. But based on she has communicated to me and revealed herself to me, and I have, in fact, in the next reality, Mother Earth and I are going to have a very different relationship that at her request. And I've come to find out she's different than what I thought. Everything is different from what I thought. Absolutely everything. This Earth is her dream, and she's dreaming to heal her unresolved issues. So we all have three selves. Mother Earth has three selves. She has a lower self, which is where we are now. We are in her lower self, which is the unconscious. The unconscious is where you have all of your unresolved issues, as well as your unresolved karma, as well as your delusions, your attachments. This is why we incarnate. We incarnate so we can filter through all of that and gain further enlightenment and evolution. We put ourselves in the pressure cooker of three-dimensional illusion so that we will be forced to really pay attention and change. And that's really the only difference. People who are miserable, it's very simple. They're not putting the effort in to become aware. That's it. And the people who are happy, who are healthy, they are following a path of evolution. It's that simple. I'm not devaluing anybody's pain or misery or difficulty or challenge. Everybody has different levels of that. But in terms of the reality of it, it's very simple. Either you are going on the path of evolution, or you are running away from your true self and you are causing yourself pain. And it's challenging because the unconscious is what's driving everything in your reality. Everything in your reality is a result of, how powerfully the things you're not aware of are driving you. So that's why we seek to become aware. We seek to become conscious. We seek to become self-analyzing so that we can catch ourselves when we're not truly authentic to our spirit. All right, so Gaia is dreaming to heal her unresolved issues, so that means she is just like we are in this third dimension. She is in a dream. And so that's important. So then we need to understand, how is it that we're interacting with this dream? Each Earth cycle is a different Gaia dream that repeats itself. You can see the evidence of previous dreams. You know, the archaeological evidence of Atlantis, the pyramids, for example. Any real scientist who really looks at the objective evidence will come to the conclusion that the pyramids are tens of thousands of years old, and that they were built with a technology that humans don't have anything, they don't have any way of creating that. If anybody looks at it, they'll find out that the pyramids were actually a very sophisticated planetary energy system that was designed to create an energy field that went all around the earth, and they did that. This was, again, we're talking 30,000 years ago. They were doing that because they knew that we were headed towards Kali Yuga, that Earth was headed towards unconsciousness, and they were actually starting to, you know, they were coming out of the age of that age of enlightenment, the Satya Yuga, and they were moving towards Kali Yuga, and they had enough awareness to know that it was coming. They could see it and feel it, and they tried to stave it off by using the pyramids to create a consciousness energy field around the earth, which worked for a little while, and then, you know, it's not quite clear what happened, but there's evidence inside of there of a massive explosion inside, you know, energy explosion inside the pyramids. So we have evidence that there was other civilizations. And I've come to find out in my interactions, again, with beings like the Council of Nine, who told me who I have been in these various earth cycles, that there are, you know, whole realities of Earth that have disappeared, been wiped away. The Mandela effect is nothing new. I think it's been going on for thousands and thousands of years, which is why when we look back into time, human beings were basically monkeys until 10,000 years ago. And then for some reason, 10,000 years ago, they decided to create civilization out of nowhere. That is a Mandela effect. And that shows that, you know, when you're an unconscious person, and you look back in your past, you don't remember your past. That's why we have words like prehistory, meaning before history. You know, prehistorical this, meaning we can't know what was possibly going on because nobody was there to write it down or record it. And we have evidence that human beings were just these mindless idiots. But that's really just, you know, human beings as they're coming into, you know, this civilization, Earth cycle. And they look back, they can only look back at what they know. And what they know is that they didn't know crap 10 minutes ago, and now they know something. So when we look in the past, our ancestors were just monkeys. And don't get me wrong, I got nothing against evolution. I'm not trying to say that evolution didn't happen, but if it did, it happened long before 10,000 years ago. All right, so let's keep going. So each Earth cycle is a different Gaia dream that repeats itself. All right. So in other words, what I've come to believe is that it's not just human beings who create these worldwide civilizations that then go through a collapse, but it's also Gaia has a dream. And in her dream, what she's trying to accomplish in the dream on an unconscious level is she's trying to create the perfect world and the perfect society for animals and humans. And it gets to a point where there's a collapse. You know, human beings become focused on greed and power and destruction, and they destroy themselves. And so that's a dream. That is one dream. So if you know, when you sleep at night, you'll notice that dreams will shift into each other. Sometimes dreams repeat themselves. You know, you'll have one dream and you'll wake up and you go, wow, that was a weird dream. And you know, you have dreams where you're trying to make something happen for like a really long time, trying to, you know, and then you'll go back to sleep and you'll be right back into it trying to make that dream happen, and you didn't realize that you just, you know, were awake 10 seconds ago. So this is her dream as well. Whenever there's a world collapse catastrophe, that dream is ending, and then another one begins. And it starts from scratch. So it's her unconsciously trying to fix a problem. So bear in mind, these are her problems. We're going to get to ours in a second. It's not her fault. She's not doing it to us. We'll find that out in a second. In fact, the reason why the dreams keep failing is because we're not doing our part in the dream. We have a much higher purpose than we realize here. So sadly for Mother Earth, if we don't do our part, she can't resolve the problem in her dream, and she can't wake up. The Earth, you know, astrologically, the moon, for example, the moon astrologically is very easily influenced by whatever planets it is around, whatever planets are conjunct the moon, or whatever planets are aspecting the moon, looking right at it, you know, connecting to the moon. So, and you know, even a better idea, a better planet is Rahu, which is the planet of our, you know, our ambitions in this world. The true karma, planet of karma, is Rahu, the north node of the moon. And that, even though it's not a physical planet, that astrological planet, Rahu becomes extremely, it morphs itself into a distortion of the planet that it's with. So Rahu with Mars becomes, you know, Mike Tyson. Rahu with Jupiter becomes, you know, an esoteric priest. Rahu with Saturn, depending on other things, can be a criminal. So the Earth is similar to that, and her mind is similar to that. In other words, she's very easily influenced on an unconscious level by the beings that live on her and their karmic interactions. So it makes me sad for Mother Earth, because she's trying to resolve and create the perfect reality. We keep screwing it up because that's not our job. Our job isn't to come here and distract her from her task, her karmic task. And that's exactly what's been happening. So each Earth cycle is a different Gaia dream that keeps repeating itself, and it keeps repeating itself because, again, it'll wipe things out, and then she'll create another dream, and but this time, instead of it being, you know, for instance, in recent times, instead of it being, you know, the Sumerians, then it becomes the Greeks or the Persians or the Romans or you know, the British Empire. You know, each one of these empires is again sort of like Mother Earth trying to, okay, I'll fix it this time and we'll do it this way. But then we get involved and we screw it up. She's trying to perfect it. She's trying to give us that perfect 5D world, and we keep screwing it up for her. So each dream is, the reason why it keeps repeating, you know, it's like a broken record, keeps repeating, is because she can't fix it, and it creates an obsession. So she's in an obsessive state of trying to recreate a new Earth to fix it. But because this is her unconscious mind and she's in a dream, she doesn't completely understand what's happening, and she's easily influenced by the consciousness that's on Earth, which would be, if the collective consciousness of humans goes in a certain direction, that pulls her in a certain direction. Make sense? So each Earth cycle is a different Gaia dream that repeats itself. Humans. Now, how do humans get on Earth? Humans are drawn to 3D Earth because of similar attachments. So let me explain this. This was a big, when they were explaining this to me, I was like, huh? Helps if you want to know, because the truth is, there's, I give you all of the stuff that I know when I know it, but there might be things I don't quite understand. And to be honest, I still didn't quite completely understand why, as people ask, why would you choose to go to Earth? Well, you're not a victim. You did choose to come here. But the question is why? Why did you choose to come here? We'll talk about that, but let's talk about, generally speaking, humans in general. So, as a soul, just like Mother Earth, you have, very deep within you, there are questions that you have. I won't say they're unresolved karmic issues, because that is a really sort of a 3D pressure cooker experience. When you're in the spirit world, you don't have any unconscious issues, you don't have any problems. You have questions. You're like, well, so what would it be like if I was in this position? How could I resolve this issue and how can I become more conscious and powerful? Yeah, I want to find, like the way we play video games. You want to play a video game that's fun and challenging, that puts you in a position where you have to figure out a problem you didn't realize that was a problem. It's not a problem in your normal life. It's only a problem when you're trying to, win that video game. So, for the sake of conversation, what I'm going to say is that souls are attracted to like issues. So what that means is Mother Earth has her own attachment issues. She has attachment to her own delusions that she's working through in her, in her incarnations. This is how she does it. And so the souls out there that have the attachments that are very earth-like, that's gravity. It pulls your soul toward that. So there's a lot of human souls that are here because they have similar unresolved karmic issues, and that's what draws them to Earth. And so they become incarnated here, because Earth has that same attachment issue, and so it creates a friendly environment to experience that. Right? Does that make sense? So humans are drawn to 3D Earth because of similar attachments to Mother Gaia. Now, more awakened humans evolve, and this helps Gaia wake up. So here's something that I learned. I hesitate sharing this because people tend to want to find out which group they're in, and they judge themselves, and I don't want to add to that. And they judge other people, and I got to tell you, the vast majority of the time that I judge other people, I'm usually wrong when it comes down to it. In terms of a lot of things. I might be accurate in what your issue is and what you're trying to accomplish, but the judgment that I have is usually wrong. There are humans that have chosen to come here not because they have similar karmic attachment to Mother Earth. They've come here because they have a karmic relationship with Earth where they have incarnated so that they can help Mother Earth wake up. So how do human beings help Mother Earth wake up? By themselves waking up within the Earth Dream. I used to use that phrase a while ago when I was teaching. The way out of the matrix is to wake up within the dream. So of waking up inside of your own dream. So there are some people that are pulled into slumber and are incarnated on Earth. I mean, of course, everything is done consciously, but it's really, there's a very strong desire for that soul to go there and experience that. And then there are other souls that are looking at what's going on Earth and saying, I want to help. Earth really isn't where I want to go. It's not my thing, but I want to go and help. I can see that Earth and humans are struggling to wake up. I want to incarnate there and help people wake up. So they're doing that because the original experiment, as I, again, this is changing and shifting as I get more and more information. But the original experiment was that souls would work together with Earth to wake up from their unconscious karmic attachments. Again, which is why the dream keeps repeating itself, because humans aren't doing their job. They're not waking up. So the dream just restarts over again. It's a nightmare that just keeps replaying itself. So there are human beings that have come here because they want to help. And so these are the, pick your, an avatar is like the highest example. That's a deity that said, I'm going to go in there, but I'm not going to lose my consciousness because I really want to elevate, help elevate the collective unconscious of the planet and help Mother Earth shift up. And then there are others who say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and forget who I am. I'm going to go ahead and let myself get attached and get diluted, and then I'm going to work to wake up in that. And just the act of people waking up from their delusions has a vibration on every other human. So every time you do something, especially when you self-analyze, again, you 12 steps to 5D, I don't know of a more powerful way to wake up than the 12 steps to 5D. I understand why most people aren't attracted to it and don't want to do it. I understand that. But when you look at it, like if I work these 12 steps, Mother Earth's going to wake up, because I'm going to wake up. I'm going to look at my attachments. I'll have to look at my attachments, and then I'll move beyond them. And every time you do that, every conscious being shifts up another level, even beings that aren't on Earth. So a lot of people come to Earth with really, really, really serious issues. Really traumatic childhood, really abusive upbringing, difficult things. They go through war, prisoners of war, torture, things like that. You want to know why? Why would somebody choose to do that? Well, they chose to do that because if you are in that and you have the ability to awaken from that, the level of conscious energy that is released as a result of that will have a strong effect on everybody, including the planet herself. So it's a sacrifice. People are sacrificing, their comfort as souls to help everybody wake up. All right, let's keep going. Oops. So more awakened humans evolve, and this helps Gaia wake up. Deeply attached humans keep Gaia unconscious, and the cycle repeats. Right? I pretty much said that. The multiverse has decided to wake up Gaia and end 3D Earth. So, in other words, what the multiverse is watching this go on. And this is, if you want to know why there's so many ETs, I mean, there's so many. Think about it. Literally every single person on Earth, if they did CE5, would get a response from a higher dimensional ET. There are 9 billion people on this planet. How many ETs must there be flying around or astrally connected to the planet? Billions. And they are so eager. If you've done CE5 or interdimensional meditation and you've been successful, you know how incredibly eager they are. They're almost beside themselves. They're so eager to help you and help you awaken that it's actually can be traumatizing, because we get overwhelmed with so much higher dimensional energy. It's overwhelming. There are people who have been frightened. Let me tell you a story about. I find it hilarious because, I understand what this guy was going through. If I had the link, I would give it to you because it's hilarious. But there was I was watching a CE5 report of a guy who did CE5. just struck me as a fairly average, seeker type of person. And so he knew what to do. He saw, in case you're listening to this and you don't know what I'm talking about, go onto YouTube and watch the free movie, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. It's free on YouTube. You can watch it on other platforms as well. And you'll find out what I'm talking about. So there's a very simple protocol where you just do a very simple meditation. You reach out and you ask if any extraterrestrials want to commune with you, be your friend, talk to you. And so he was doing that. So he had the app on his phone. He had the CE5 app, and he was going through the app and he was doing the meditation. And the meditation was really great. He felt really peaceful and serene, and he was really enjoying it. But he didn't see any spaceships. Didn't see anything flying around, and he thought, man, this isn't working. Now, he had a very normal human response, which is he was having a very powerful meditative experience, and we tend to poo-poo our meditative experiences. If you meditate and you have a sense of, if you feel energy and you have a sense of peace and calm, you're not alone. I guarantee you are not alone. There is either beings there phased out of third dimension that are meditating with you. They don't want to disturb you, but they want to help you, give you energy to help your experience. They're interacting with you on a deeply unconscious, intuitive level, so you think that you're coming up with these realizations and they're not all coming from you. Somebody else is helping you. And or they're, a billion light years away, but they sensed, wow, there's a person on Earth meditating. I'm going to meditate with them. And they're going to send their energy to you. So when you do any of the practices I do and you feel like an energy, you feel calm, I promise you're not alone. There's another conscious energy that is helping you. All right, so this guy was doing that. He's doing the CE5 meditations. He has this great meditation. It feels good. He's looking around. He's got his camera out, and he's flashing his light up in the sky. Somebody told him to flash a light in the sky because we think that they're flying around looking for us. They can't find us, right? They've got Mr. Spock is looking in there, and there's a human down there somewhere. We'll keep the sensors looking for him. Oh wait, I see a flashlight. Oh, there he is. That's what we think is happening. That's not what's happening. That is not what's happening at all. They sense you from 100 billion light years away. They know when you're meditating. Because conscious beings consciousness is connected. There's no distance when it comes to consciousness. So this guy's meditating, he's having this great time, and so now he says, okay, where are the damn ETs? Yeah, he's shining his headlight up in the sky, shining his flashlight. He's playing I did this kind of stuff too. He's playing the tones into his radio, what the heck's good? Nothing, right? So damn it, he's really mad at himself. He probably feels stupid because he felt so good meditating, and now he feels stupid thinking that something was happening when it wasn't. So he packs up his gear. He's in a park somewhere, which is probably why he didn't see anything, because he's in a city. And if ETs manifest themselves usually around populated areas, the military picks it up immediately. So they take their lives in their hands every time they manifest a ship, just so you can see it. So be aware of that. So don't have any expectations when you do CE5, because you never know. They might want to, manifest their ship for you, but they don't want to get shot down, because the humans will shoot them down like that. In fact, they're 24 hours a day. There are humans like Mr. Spock looking around for ETs. And the moment they have them, they've got energy-directed weapons that they can use to take them out instantly. So anyway, nothing happens. Nobody shows up as far as he's concerned. So he packs up his stuff and he starts walking up the hill towards his car. And for some reason, I think he didn't realize it. I'm pretty sure the ETs were sending him the unconscious message to do this. He turned around and he was looking at where he was. And he's like, are those lights? And like he thought he could see these lights where he was. He was like, I was just sitting there. What are those lights? So he takes his flashlight and he flashes it at that site. And where he was sitting, lights flash back at him, super bright. And it scared the crap out of him. The realization that they were sitting there with him the whole time scared the crap out of him, and he ran and he got in the car and he drove home and he slept with the lights on. And that's exactly how I felt the first time I did it. I felt exactly the same way, and I told him, don't come into my house. You better not abduct me. You know, I had the exact same feeling. Anyway, I don't know how I got up on that tangent, but so the multiverse has decided to wake up Gaia and end 3D Earth because, you know, she's trapped in a nightmare she can't get out of. She can't wake up. She wants to wake up and she can't. And so the universe has decided we're going to end this. So the Mother Earth has three selves just like we do. She has a lower self, her unconscious mind, where all of her attachments are. She has a conscious mind, which is, you know, equivalent to the soul. And then she has a higher self. So if you want to know what the three versions of Earth are, that's what they're going to be. So what's going to happen is, you know, and I'm open for this to change, but what's going to happen is the current lower self of planet Earth, the 3D matrix which we live in, this, you know, the universe is going to wake her up out of this dream. It's just becoming a nightmare. You know, and the things that are happening to her, she's completely conscious about all of the evil that is being done to her. We're idiots. Human beings are idiots. We don't have the first clue. People have to wake up just to little tiny realizations like, you know, what happened during the pandemic and the lies and the, you know, all of the falsehoods, and really they're big pharma's just doing this to make money. I mean, those little tiny awakenings, we're just barely wrestling with that, and when things are far, 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 far worse than that. And poor Mother Earth is experiencing all of this, and I'm not going to get into all the ways, but it's hellish for her. You know, when I had to have been in my late 20s, yeah, and I was up in the mountains. I was up in the Sierras. And, you know, at the real high, like 14,000 foot peaks, you know, the pollution from, you know, LA basin or, you know, the Central California basin was coming up and sort of wisping over the top of 14,000 foot peaks. Pollution. When I saw that, I was like, holy crap, this is really bad. This has to be really bad for the earth. This can't be good. And I wasn't aware that I had a strong connection, but I was sitting there and I thought I felt Mother Earth say, I need your help. I'm starting to get sick. And I said, how can I possibly help you? What can I do? I'm just a little human on this planet. I'm not a politician. I don't have any money. I don't have any influence. I'm just this kid trying to get through this thing. How can I possibly help you? And I said, I mean, the only thing that I can do is I can work on my awareness, and I can help as many people become aware of their conscious level, and that's all I have, and that's all I said, I will do that. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to help people become conscious and aware and healthy, and that's all I can do. And I didn't realize that that was, in fact, the most powerful thing that anybody can do. So, you know, she's trying to wake up from this dream that she can't wake up from. She needs our help. So this 3D, this lower self of Gaia, which is where we are we're in her unconscious, and we are not helping We are adding to the confusion, we're adding to the pain, we're adding to the misery, we're adding to her challenge of trying to wake up. And that wasn't our job. Our job was to help her. Our job was to create fantasies and work with her to create beautiful fantasies. And so she could have a beautiful dream. And she, you know, her essence is that she is a mother, which means that she, you know, mothers love their children. You know, like if you've heard the mothers of like serial killers, you know, the mothers will never say how horrible their children were. They'll say, you know, he's a good boy. He made a mistake, or, you know, life was hard on him. You know, she loves us. She's not going to destroy us. She can't. She sees us as her children. So what ends up happening is she ends up taking on our flawed psychology, and it's damaging to her. And she feels all. So the multiverse has decided to wake up Gaia and end 3D Earth. So what's going to happen? This 3D Earth is her unconscious. It is going to be replaced by a new 3D Earth. So she's going to wake up. Her unconscious is going to wake up. And that's going to be the new 3D. So what happens to this one? This one becomes a file that's going to be deleted. So, you know, just like when we excrete waste, this version of Earth, with all of the horrific, evil people doing horrifically evil things, and the people who are so disconnected from their soul, they're going to be put in, you know, like on my desktop right now, I have a trash can, I have a bin, and it's filled with a bunch of files that I'm getting ready to delete. Now, I can't access those files right now. They're in the trash can, so I can't like go in there and open them. I have to take them out to look at them. But they're there because I'm going to delete them. That's where this world is going to go. And so people will think that the world is continuing. And they will go deeper into a state of slumber. They'll go deeper into a deeper dream. And it'll be, as I've said before, it'll be Skynet. It'll be, you know, people running away from, you know, the elites who are trying to literally wipe out the entire planet because they think that if they do that, Jesus will come. And what will happen is what you would expect. It will self-destruct. That will be the multiverse, you know, clicking delete trash, empty trash. I go up on mine and I have a pull down menu that says empty trash. That's what's going to happen. Right now we're in that in between spot where we're about to shift up into three different, you know, and where you get to shift up to is shift up to the new unconscious, which is the new dream of Mother Earth, or you can shift up to her conscious mind, which is similar to the soul, or you can shift up to her higher self, which is pure consciousness, which is looking down on everything. And in the highest one, it's going to be a brand new higher self. So she's getting a brand new third eye and higher self. And that's going to be what I'm calling 5D Earth. And she's going to be a child. She's going to be a little girl. And so only the most conscious of beings will be allowed up there with her. And make no mistake, that's not just a playground for us. It will be. But if you're going to 5D Earth, you're going there because you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to pay back whatever karma you have against Mother Earth. You have to pay it back. And you pay it back by creating the perfect environment for her to have her perfect, most conscious childhood. Nobody's going to get up there who isn't completely, totally devoted to be the most loving, kind parent of little Princess Gaia. If you're not ready for that or you're not committed to that, you won't go there. I don't know what the Middle Earth will be like. It's going to be better than the 3D version. I don't know. I don't know any more about than that. The new unconscious, the new dream, where Mother Earth is working through all of her unconscious issues. The new Earth that's going to come because this one is going to get destroyed. As I understand it, and I don't need this to be true, but I've come to the conclusion for the moment that it will be similar to the Earth we're on now. It will be slightly higher, but it will be a dystopian world where the elites have fallen and all of the infrastructure, banks and everything like that has fallen, and people will regress back to the 1800s or something. And society gets to start all over. So it'll be a new experiment, slightly higher awareness, and people will have to learn to create a new world, a new society. Unevolved humans will remain in Gaia's nightmare, which will be an extinction event. Evolved humans will upgrade to either higher 3D or 5D Earth Dream. 5D Earth Gaia is herself, her higher self as a child. Humans determine Gaia's next incarnation based on our focus. So now I understand what I was told numerous times by the ETs, who they don't do it anymore, and it leads me to believe that 5D Earth has been created now. Or at least the infrastructure, the energetic infrastructure is, I think, completed now. I don't know. But for a while there, they were very, very adamant that they wanted me to go into higher dimensional meditation and create my perfect 5D world. So that means everything. I went and created everything, and I would do the huar breath. That's what you hear in the background. I would do that silently, of course, and I would send out all kinds of energy and create all kinds of things. And I was interacting with different entities that were populating that world, and higher dimensional humans, and of course my fantasies of what I wanted to be doing there and what I wanted to have happen and all that. And I didn't understand that, because my assumption was that 5D Earth existed, and I was going to get taken to a place that already existed. Now I'm realizing it didn't exist. We had to create it. So this is where, again, the responsibility comes in. We have to create not only our perfect world so that we'll be happy, but we have to create a perfect world for little Princess Gaia. And so that's why it's so important that you create your own 5D Earth. Don't give up the responsibility to just show up. Some people might show up in your 5D reality. Maybe I'm creating a reality and other people will just show up and be part of that. I don't know. So I don't want to make anybody feel bad if they don't know how to do that, but we are responsible for what we create for that new higher self. And that's why, the people who call themselves the chosen, people who call themselves starseeds, I've already told you that a lot of that is, people's unresolved codependence and their, it's their ego defense mechanism, and it's full of, when people talk about it, like, watch the videos of chosen people are attacked because they can't handle you, and they're, and it's full of judgment and, self-denial. It's obviously people who are really emotionally damaged, and it's a defense mechanism. But it doesn't mean it's not true. It doesn't mean that there aren't star seeds here, and there aren't chosen ones, and there aren't, very sensitive beings from other dimensions and other planets that aren't really part of the whole Earth karmic thing. They're here to help skew it in a positive direction. And so, you might be one of those people. Anyway, so did I get through everything? Yeah. All right, so Goddess Gaia is dreaming to heal her unresolved issues. Each Earth cycle is a different Gaia dream that repeats itself. Humans are drawn to 3D Earth because of similar attachments to Gaia's unconscious. More awakened humans evolve, and this helps Gaia wake up. Deeply attached humans keep Gaia unconscious, and the Earth cycle repeats. The multiverse has decided to wake up Gaia and end 3D Earth. Current 3D reality will disappear when Gaia wakes up. Unevolved humans will remain in Gaia's nightmare, end of the world scenario. Evolved humans will upgrade to either 3D or 5D Earth dream. And in 5D Earth, Gaia is her higher self, but as a child. And humans determine Gaia's next incarnation based on our focus. So, that's a lot of stuff. As I said, I'm open to have any of this change. It's not I don't share any of this, from a self-righteous, perspective of, it's a lot of it's challenging for me, especially if I were to tell you who they say I'm supposed to be over there. If I were to tell you that, you'd realize how challenging this is for me to accept. But what I've done to keep myself sane through all of this is that whatever I'm told, I take it at face value, no matter how incredulous or unbelievable it is. I accept it at face value, and then when I come back into my body, I don't try and figure it out. So I recommend you do the same. Keep yourself open, because if you allow yourself to be open, the stuff that higher dimensional beings will tell you will be absolutely unbelievable to your 3D mind. Completely implausible. And it will be a challenging thing to fit all that into your 3D head. And your ego especially. You're going to have to expand your ego to be able to handle who you truly are. So don't try and figure it out though. Accept what you're being told, but don't try and figure it out. And as long as you do that, you'll expand and you'll evolve. And, I think the reason they're doing this is because there's going to be seems like a pretty intense shift. And it might be fairly quick. So if we don't start, if we don't start, getting ourselves prepared, it's going to be quite a shock. So at least, while I'm still in 3D, I'm going through the shock of experiencing it. And it's getting less and less frightening when they come to me and say things like, you're going to see a light in the sky and you'll be taken up to a ship, and then you'll learn a bunch of stuff, and then you'll be brought back down. I mean, it's not as frightening for me to hear that. When I first heard it, it scared the crap out of me. But I appreciate that. They're not afraid to frighten us if it's more important that we learn the truth, that we become prepared for what's coming. It's more important that we become prepared for what's coming than it is that we stay comfortable in what we think we know reality is. All right, so that's it. Again, if you're new to the channel, I need you to subscribe, like, and comment. Go to the free playlist page, click on the Mao Shan Qigong Interdimensional Meditation 12 Steps to 5D. Subscribe to the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong at the website thunderwizard.com. That's what allows me to pay the bills. This is my entire work, my entire focus. And I'm completely, totally devoted to sharing with as many people who will listen with my books. You can get my books at michaelwilliamdenny.com. And through this channel and through now, my Facebook page, The Path of the Thunder Wizard. My entire focus for my life is to get this information out. So you're doing me a huge favor if you subscribe. I've made everything available, at least the basics free. There's no shortage of free stuff. If you don't have any money, everything here is here for you, and I'd rather that you get what you need than not. But it makes a difference. I've been running into some, challenges when it comes to paying bills and stuff like that. So the more people that subscribe and stay subscribed, the better it is for me and my ability to run this. So I appreciate all those who not only are doing the practices, that's the most important thing. I appreciate everybody who watches and takes my challenges and my advice and does the work. And I'm equally as grateful to those who support the channel by subscribing, because if you subscribe, you get the best stuff. You want the real stuff, you subscribe. So you get something out of it, but I appreciate it because it allows me to keep doing this work. All right, that's it. Let me see if we've got anything on here anybody wants to say. Twisted Reality, please in the future write the word question in all caps. Why? So that I see it. If people just type in stuff in, I have to look at every single one. So it helps me, I can go straight to the questions. So I think you're fairly new to the channel, so that's okay. And I haven't been really focused on, making people do that. But anyway, you say, I have a serious question. How would we know if these deities like or hate us, if they aren't just playing mind games? I have a very serious answer. Do you have friends in your life? Like, do you have people that you know? People that you trust? If I were to walk up to you and you were standing there with your friend who I didn't know, and I knew you, and if I walked up to you and I pulled you aside and I said, how do you know that this person isn't going to stab you? How do you know this person isn't lying to you? How do you know this person isn't going to steal from you? How do you know any of that? You don't know anything about that person. You say, hang on. I've known this person for years. They're my friend. Yeah, but you still don't know what they're going to do in the next 10 seconds. You'd be like, yeah, but I trust them. What? You trust that? That's a separate being from you. That's not you. How can you trust that person? Because I know them. You have experience with them. So your question tells me that you haven't experienced any of this. That you haven't had a connection with a deity. But here's the thing. Deities can't connect with you if you don't reach out to them. You know the kind of beings that will connect with you if you don't reach out to anything? Demons, ghosts, robbers, killers, mean people will come after you if you're isolated. Wolves don't look for the biggest, strongest, deer in the pack. They look for the sick and the old that are straying behind, that are by themselves, and then they separate them from the herd, and then they eat them. So the fact that you're asking this question tells me that spiritually you are isolated. You are straggling. You are running behind the pack, which means you're not trusting anybody. More so, you don't trust yourself, because your question assumes that you don't, you're asking me because you honestly don't know. How do I know if this is a good being or a bad being? It's a serious question. Well, it means you don't trust your own spirit. So it means that you're separate from your own spirit. Because when you're connected to your own spirit, you can feel the spirit of other things. Narcissists, when they look for people to abuse and to pull into relationships, or cult leaders, when they pull people into their cult, the people that end up in those cults aren't people who are happy and connected and aware, because what happens is those people, the moment they come in contact with a narcissist or a cult leader, they go, something isn't right about this. This doesn't feel right. So what you're saying is you don't know if you can trust your own instincts. I'm just pointing this out to you, what's in your question. So you want me to, and I want to tell you, let me answer this with what possible answer could I give you? I could go in and tell you, that higher dimensional beings, from their perspective, it's literally impossible for them to have a negative feeling towards you. It's literally impossible for them to want to harm you. And then I could go into the physics behind it, why at that frequency it's impossible, but you don't know that. That's not going to take your fear away. There's literally nothing I can say. Just like if I was afraid of your friend because I didn't know them, you would go, you know what, come here. And you would say, hey, friend, this is my other friend. I want to introduce you. This is a really great person. And, you would want me to have an experience of them. Because as long as I'm paranoid and I don't have an experience of your friend, I'm not going to know who they really are. And you're going to want me to know who they really are so that you can know how great your friend is. So the bottom line is, I'm never going to be able to say anything that's going to make you feel safe. In fact, I wouldn't do that. As I say on my channel over and over again, don't take my word for anything. You should never take anybody's word for anything. That's what religion does. That's why there are Christians walking around carrying a book that's, a compilation of books that are anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 years old, and they're carrying it around and they're repeating it. And you say, how do you know God exists? Well, it's written in this book right here. Yeah, but a person wrote that. Yeah, but it's in the book. Well, how do you know that the book is God's word? Oh, it says so right here in the book. That's the kind of person who ends up, they have that little security blanket. They have this book. And even though the book tells them something that is completely, totally opposite their own experience and their own common sense, like God creating man in his own image just so that he can punish him for eating a freaking fruit that helped him understand himself, and then throwing you into hell forever simply because you don't know God's correct name. I mean, anybody with common sense goes, no, that's an abusive narcissist. That's not God. Well, but the book here says that your question is coming from somebody who wants to be, there's a part of you, not all of you, there's a part of you that wants me to tell you to say, just trust in me. I'm Mahadeva, trust me, I said it, it's true. And you should never do that. What I am saying, I'm saying go to the 3 playlists. I'm saying do the interdimensional meditations. I'm saying trust in your soul enough to know that you'll know whether or not these beings are harmful or not. And the assumption that I have that you don't have is that I know, I've known my whole life, figure that one out. I've known my whole life that I'm more powerful than any spiritual being in anywhere. That's why I've never been afraid of demons. Doesn't mean that I didn't have scary nights, because I heard a sound and a little kid. Doesn't mean that I didn't have the fear, but I always knew that if I decided that I didn't want a being anywhere in my reality, it wouldn't come anywhere near me. This is why demons are only attracted to people who are escaping their own pain. Anybody who gets possessed is escaping their own pain. They want the demon to distract them. They play, oh my God, I'm being possessed by demons, but they're trying to escape the fact that their mother rejected them and their father sexually abused them. They're escaping that part. So they want to get up into the drama. So this is what I hear in your question. How do we know if these deities like or hate us? That means that you have an expectation that somebody's going to hate you. I want you to understand that. That is an unnatural place for a human, any spiritual being, to be in the state of the possibility that a higher being could hate you. A lower being, but a higher being? That means that I already, I could psychoanalyze you just from that question. I don't want to do that, but that's very saddening for me to hear. that you don't have enough trust in your own soul, in your own spirit, that your own spirit will protect you from anything. So the short answer to your question is, all you have to do is find out. I mean, look at me. I'm talking, I can't shut up about how much these beings love me. So why would they love me and hate you? I mean, I've been spending all this time with them and my life has only gotten better. So why, if it works for me, why would it not work for you? Why would they hurt you and not me? Why would they love me and not love you? The point is, none of that makes any sense. It's completely nonsensical. It's totally irrational. So just sit back and be rational for a moment. What have you got to lose? Do the interdimensional meditation and tell them that you're afraid. Have you watched my video, How I Became an Extraterrestrial? Go onto the Aliens playlist, click on How I Became an Extraterrestrial and watch. You will see me on the verge of tears. And you'll see that a higher dimensional being is contacting me. You'll see, I'll show you the evidence in that video. I have the physical evidence to prove it. And you will hear me on the verge of tears saying, I'm afraid, I'm afraid. So there's nothing wrong with being afraid. Doesn't mean that you have to let your fear stop you. So when you do the interdimensional meditation, tell them, I'm afraid. I don't know if you're going to love me or hate me. Please help me. And if you come back and tell me that something bad happened, I will take my hair off for you. So the answer to your question is, there's nothing I'm going to say that's going to convince you. You're going to have to find out for yourself. You're going to have your own experience, and your experience will tell you. And once you have the experience, just like when you have an experience of your friend who you know that loves you, nobody can come along and tell you what an asshole your friend is, because you're going to go, you can say whatever the hell you want, but I've known them for 5 years and I have an experience with them, and nothing you say is going to change that. So go get your own experience and don't let me or anybody else tell you what to think and what to believe. It's what the Christians do. And on the Facebook, my Facebook group, I mean, the 90% of the comments are Christians saying, you're kidding yourself, you're talking to demons. And one person said, really? So give us some evidence for that. Do you have a link? With no response, because they don't have any evidence. They were told that. They were told it in church. Somebody read it out of a book. And then somebody told them that, they believed it, and now their belief is completely based without any experience. So don't take my word for anything. Find out for yourself. And then when you come and listen to me, instead of you listening to what I'm saying and wanting to know whether or not I'm telling you the truth, you can have your own experience and you'll go, no, he's wrong about that. Nope, he's right about that. No, I don't know about that one yet. You'll have your own experience. So go trust yourself, love yourself. You are God. There is no being in the universe more powerful than you. And if there's an entity that you don't like, if you, with confidence, look them in the face and say, get the hell away from me, they will run. Nothing can stand in the presence of your soul. That means you have to embrace your own soul and trust and believe in your own soul. It's the only thing you have. Everybody dies alone. Everybody is born into this world alone. Everybody dies alone. And the only thing you have is your own soul. And if you don't have your own soul, you don't have anything. That's what all of my practices are here. That's why I tell people to do the practices. That's why it's meaningless to just sit and listen to me talk. Meaningless if you don't experientially feel and get the power for yourself, which is what I offer to you. Anyway, That's. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings with that. That's my answer to your question. Let's see. Maria Castro, thought. My soul in this body makes me a form of conscious technology. Well, that's a whole other 3 hours if I responded to that. It's a very good point, but I would have to take another 3 hours to explain all of the technology that is the human body, the spiritual technology that is the human body. All right, that's it. Thank you so much, everybody, for showing up. Again, I love you all. I appreciate you all. And again, if I have done or said anything in my passion and in my opinionatedness, if I've hurt your feelings or frightened you in any way or offended you, please forgive me. Know that I'm doing my best and that everything I do comes from a desire to be as helpful as I possibly can to all conscious beings in the universe. So having said that, thank you so much for showing up and thank you for doing the work. Again, thunderwizard.com, 90-day challenge, subscribe, books, michaelwilliamdenny.com, courses.thunderwizard.com, all the other stuff that's there. And again, I'm here to help. If you want to learn from me directly, you can. Go to thunderwizard.com and subscribe as an apprentice. And you can work with me on a weekly or monthly basis, depending on how often you want to work with me. That's it. Thank you so much. I love you all. And as always, if I don't get beamed up to the Starship Enterprise, which is looking more like a possibility every day, and or the solar flash don't come, which is also looking like a bigger possibility every day, and or if I don't shift myself out of this third dimensional dream, which is looking more like a possibility every day, if none of those things happen, I will see you all very soon. Please, for me, take very good care of yourselves and love yourselves deeply, knowing that I love you and all other conscious beings in the universe love you more than you can possibly imagine. Please take very good care of yourself. I shall see you all next time. Solar Flash Update 2024. Extraterrestrial Council of 9 reveals to me secret about 3D Earth. Gaia is dreaming. Get my books on Amazon Kindle or Audible, or you can get them at michaelwilliamdenny.com.